Hey, everybody, it is. It is Burn Bright today. Jennifer Marcenelle does a fabulous show about what it means to burn bright today. But beyond the show, this is a way of life for her. This is what she does. You know, when I take a look at what it is that she and I get to talk about every time we get together, there is an energy that calls us forward. I'm Dr. Pat, and I get to co-host this fabulous show with Jennifer Marcinelli. For those of you out there, this is what Jennifer has been called to do, helping people shine bright like a diamond, just like that. And how do you burn bright today when life deals you a bunch of things? Sticky, sticky, crazy, crazy things. And one of the things that I know is that today is a day which many of us think about in our lives, right? We think about what Martin Luther King Day is about. Well, today is that day. And when we think about things that happen in a lifetime and the challenges we face, you have to ask yourself the question as we celebrate this day, how is it some people can rise up? What is it about what they've learned in their own lives about how to move beyond the things that happen to them, to step forward in the most incredible way? And I want to say this. I started the show at the lowest point in my life. I just started crust busting. And I remember this because here I was really down and out. And to have the thing that happened to me 16 years ago and dial in a wrong phone number and being here today, it just puts me in awe. But I had help. That's what Jennifer is going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to burn bright in our relationships, how to Sur-Thrive a messy divorce. And that's what we're kicking it up with. Yeah. Jennifer, this is about taking a real life situation and putting it in the context of what it's like, what we can change to make it different, and how we come out on the other side of something like this, standing tall and strong, right?
Absolutely. And, I was really called, if you will, to put this on the show today and really talk about this. Not just only my personal experience that everybody is aware of, but I am seeing as I have so many clients right now going through something so similar. Change the name, change the faces, but there's a big change going on. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on cosmically and some of these changes that are happening for us. These changes that are taking place that are actually kind of forcing us to end relationships that need to end so that we can learn and grow and heal and come out on this much higher level so that we can all be ready to have our next relationship that is ready for where we are in our consciousness today. So it's not only happened to me. I'm not the only one who's had to thrive through a very messy divorce and come through it shining bright and happier than I've ever been. But so are my clients. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Yeah. We'll share what's going on and how you can get through it and resources that are available. And we're going to get a little later into the show about the 4 things you've got to know. You've got to know if you're going through, whether you're in the throes of a messy divorce or you're on the other side of it and you're just now starting to recover. So we're going to get into all of it today.
Yeah. Well, here's the good news about this week, right? You know, this week, for many people that have been out there really thinking the energy, the planets, things are really tough. They feel tight. They feel constricted. Yeah. Well, that is exactly the way it's supposed to feel before you enter an epic energy. But this week is different. This is the week where you turn a new leaf. This is the week where you have to make a conscious decision throughout your life to leave the past in the past and dedicate yourself to your goals. Yes. Set your sights on the future. That's this week. Yes. So it's not a surprise that we're talking about it because this is where we have a shift as we, look at the sun move into this Aquarius energy. And it reminds us to strive for a better life, a better reality, and of course, this is the week where we take that quote to be the change you'd like to see in the world. And this is the energy that is greeting us at the doorway right
Yes.
now.
Yes.
Um, I want to ask you, I don't think it's a mistake you're doing this show. I don't think it is, right? I
Yeah.
think there's an energy and a shift. But what we're seeing is we can make a difference in the world, and it is time for that. Some people say the new year really didn't start until this week.
Yeah.
You know, my friends that are celebrating the year of the white metal rat would say that as well. But you know it. That's why you pull this show forward, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I can. And of course, strong ties into astrology and numerology are so helpful. It helps us navigate these forces, the cosmic energies that affect all of us, right? We're humans and we agreed to incarnate right now. And we agreed to be here through this grand stellium and into the Aquarian age. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of bubbling over with this new energy because everyone who's been working and following and listening along all of 2019 knows what I went through.
Yeah.
And this new energy, 2020, this new decade, 2020, the year of perfect vision, the beautiful energy of the Aquarian age that's officially coming in on the 24th, but I have an Aries ascendant, so I'm lucky I get everything early. And if you're not feeling the energy yet, I just want to say it's wonderful. It is freeing. We're going to be able to do things to help ourselves be more free, to let go of relationships that are done and let them go and move on into the past. And exactly what you're describing, the energy there is to support us in doing that. So if you've been down in the mud, which I've been, okay, it's time now. And this new energy is shifting. And after Thursday, with this new moon in Aquarius, beginning the Aquarian age, this begins an amazing shift for the next weeks and months to come that are going to feel really good. And for those of us who've been making the changes, we're going to be able to move forward. And maybe if you've been reticent to make those changes, you can utilize that energy to help you make these changes that you know in your heart of hearts you have got to make. If there's a relationship or two or three that need to go, this energy will help you do that. And it feels really great. And now more than ever, we have other resources to help and support us. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well.
Well, and I think this is what we're talking about. It is a new change and a new time. Many people that I've spoken with over the weekend have asked me about this. And, you know, I don't wake up every day and think about the planets and the stars or numerology. But I will say today is 2020. Mm-hmm. Today is 1/20/2020. And, you know, when we think about this, on the 23rd, Jupiter is going to hop itself over. That's optimistic Jupiter. Yeah. I love my planet. Yep. But it's going to run into a couple of bumps. It's going to hop over and it's going to hang out with Venus. Yep. And so that's going to be there for us to look at the relationships and bond and grow them stronger, thick and thin. Yes. But you're right about something. If we don't get that really expansive nature without it getting a little sideways with when Mars comes in. And this is why I want to talk about this, because we're going to be experiencing astrologically what people experience every day of their life. Here's the message for the show today. You ready? It doesn't matter what's going to pop up. What Jennifer Marcenelle is going to help you with is the following: patience, speaking with integrity, maintaining honesty, and solving all of these conflicts so you can become closer to your self-love and the love for those that are on your love team. Right, Jennifer?
Absolutely. Because that's really what we're here to learn. We're here to learn self-love. And we're here to reconnect with our divinity. And we're here to learn how to allow our divinity to shine right through. And we talk about this in the book. So to go energetically just for a moment, we're also here to allow our divinity to shine through the subtle bodies so that our divinity is leading our life, not our mind, not our emotions, not our past memories, but the divine energy that flows through us and comes through our intuition and guides us on how to live the best life we possibly can in joy, so that when we are aligned and soul is shining through, and we have joy and we can handle any challenge that comes up because we're back in ourselves. We're not twisting into a pretzel trying to be what everybody else wants us to be, trying to make everybody else happy, and trying to meet unrealistic expectations imposed on us by other people, unrealistic expectations imposed on us by ourselves. This is an amazing time to move through this and come into this new age. I mean, this is a new age that's dawning, and every single human on the planet, it's a divine birthright. You can step into it. You just need some help doing it. That's all.
Yeah. And I think that's the energy we're feeling here. I mean, this is now our 10th year with TTR and, our full 15th year with the Dr. Pat Show, really becoming the Dr. Pat Show. Before that, it was Crust Busting Your Way to an Awesome Life. But one of the things we're seeing with the energy is that people always ask me, Jennifer, they ask me, how are you people still in existence? And I always think that is like the weirdest question. And then I get the answer. And the answer is what we're going to talk about in today's show. Adapt and grow. Adapt and grow. But there's a third element, and I want you to really talk about this because this is part of what you're all about.
Yeah.
Adapt, expand, and change. And when I think about that, I think about the energy we have had in 3 weeks of this year. And I'll say it started on the 26th. But in, 4 weeks, if I round it, I'm not very good with the numbers, but 3 or 4 weeks. We've had more people find us and want to do shows and want to do branding and want to do website. Jessica and I looked at each other and we said, have we done anything differently? Did we hire somebody? And we just looked at each other and we said, no, that is the energy. So I want to ask you this question. Having gone through the year you went through, having taken everything you've done, what challenges, what obstacles did you move beyond, move left behind or leaving behind to step into the new Jennifer Marcenelle, the new Jennifer, the new body of work, the new way you're going to help people, the new way we're going to talk about burnout? Let's take a short break. I want everybody to hear the new you, Jennifer. Let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back. And guess what? You ever gone through a divorce? You ever hear those words? 1-800-930-2819. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. Thank you so much. Listen, this is about what it means, right, to burn bright today. Today's show with Jennifer Marcenelle, she is going to take us on a journey of what it means to burn bright in your relationships. What happens when you go through a divorce, right? That's one scenario. But how about a messy divorce? And yes, there are some that are super more messy than others. And it happens in multiple ways. Sometimes it's messy in the process. Sometimes it's messy in the aftermath. Sometimes it's messy before. And sometimes it's just messy all around. But what happens when you go through it and you are learning or have learned because of who you've become to shine your light regardless? That's what we're talking about today. And I want to get back to that, Jennifer, because you went through some challenges and I want to just get at this. That is my signature question. What are some of the challenges and obstacles you've had to overcome to bring you to this very moment? And the reason I ask you this question is because this very moment was different than the last moment we talked. And you've got a lot to share. So let's get at it.
Yeah, so I'll just refresh everyone who's been following for the last 13 months now. This was a very unexpected divorce. I was confronted by my spouse, and I knew divinely around Christmas of 2018 that this is done. And I cannot do this, that the marriage was not a marriage and that it had to end, which was really very, very difficult for me. I had been married before. I had many personal beliefs. I really thought that I was going to be in love and happy, and this was my lifetime partner. I truly believed every part of that. So there were so many layers to this onion that I had to work through. And the first layer of the onion was that it was spiritually important for me to end this relationship. This was a karmic pattern. The soul contract had completed and the marriage was meant to end. And it took me a lot to get there, okay? But this is a new way of thinking. This is a new, enlightened, higher vibratory, higher level of consciousness, awareness that we actually have soul contracts with each other. And we may have a soul contract to be married, but a part of that soul contract may be that the marriage is to end and we both go on our paths at two different levels of what it is we're to do next. That, I got to say, was the very, very first thing that I had to face myself with. I had to understand it. And I had to understand that, number one, this marriage was not meant to last forever. When I truly, in every party, I married for love. I thought I was going to be happy forever. It's not the case. That was a big one. And I'm talking about it now like, oh yeah, you can just decide. But no, I mean, months of therapy. And we're going to talk about self-care, okay? Because I Sur-Thrived this because I had an extraordinary team of professionals, an extraordinary team of gemstone, diamond therapy, Reiki practitioners, psychologists, you name it, I've had it, okay, to help me get through this. So we're going to talk a bit about this. The next biggest challenge that came up that shocked me beyond shocked me is that I had been living under a verbal prenuptial agreement, and come to find out I was the only one living under the agreement.
Wow.
So when it came time, I filed for an amicable no-fault divorce, and I'm in the state of Texas. So that can happen in the state of Texas, which means you basically fill out a spreadsheet of his, hers, and ours, agree to the 50-50 split or whatever you have agreed to. Your attorney drafts it, the opposing counsel reviews it, signs off on it, and if it meets Texas law, a judge signs off on it. This whole thing can be done in 61 days for $1,200.
Wow.
That's what I signed up for.
Wow.
1 week later, I was ambushed when I discovered that my spouse had gone to an attorney and filed a waste claim, claiming that I had wasted community funds on a frivolous business, and was basically wanting me to pay him an outrageous, when I tell you the number, you're going to just die, okay? An outrageous amount of money that I had slowly and secretly siphoned off the community funds. I knew it wasn't true. This was a fraudulent claim, folks, and we're going to talk about this because there is a phenomena underfoot of what's going on with Texas divorce lawyers right now, and it freaking needs to stop, okay? And here's what's happening is that divorce lawyers, this is the way that they make money, is that they can basically throw spaghetti against a wall without having any proof. And then you are forced to spend tens of thousands of dollars with your attorney proving your innocence so that you can protect what is rightfully yours of the community funds. This happened to me, guys. It has cost me tens of thousands of dollars, and I had to learn, and we're going to go through how I've learned how to combat this, okay? So I had to deal with someone who once loved me, who got in with a junkyard attorney, who decided to ride with the devil because he knew this wasn't true. He knew I never made $1.2 million. And he knew that I'm frugal. He knew that I didn't steal. And he knew it was my money that I had earned. We had been living under a verbal prenuptial agreement. Our money was separate. and I had started my business with my funds. But he found an attorney who counseled him to file a waste claim that I had wasted community funds on a frivolous business.
I can't even understand that term. I want to make sure everybody's listening to the ridiculous nature of this.
Yes.
A waste.
It's asinine.
WASTE. Waste. Is that like a thing?
It can
in
be
Texas?
in the state of Texas.
Okay.
In the state of Texas, there is a law that if one spouse begins a business with community funds, the non-business partner spouse can can sue the spouse for the money used to start the business. That is a Texas law. But it is not. So let me back up just a little bit, because this claim was fraudulent. Okay. Number one, was not true. He knew it wasn't true.
Right.
He went along with it anyway.
Right.
And they filed a motion for me to pay him $1.2 million that never existed. And here's what they did.
Wow.
You know how when you invest in your investment portfolio, your financial advisor make decisions to buy and sell securities over time at a net loss or a net gain for incremental increases over time. That was our strategy. That, by the way, my husband was fully aware of. This was my investment strategy with my own money. Our money was separate. We got married when we were older. Okay. They took the 1099s that they got from our accountant. Okay, we have the same accountant. We filed all the taxes. He has seen every document, complete visibility, all of our marriage. Everything was on the counter at the kitchen every time. He's the one who went to the CPA to file our taxes. He had the copies. They took the 1099s. They added, all right, so let me back up. When you sell a security in your portfolio, whether it is a net loss or a gain, it generates a 1099, which is a tax document. You have to pay taxes on that money, okay? Usually in that quarter. So I had been doing that all along for years. I get a 1099, I pay my taxes. He had full visibility to this. But out of that sell, from that sell, you then have a buy. So it's either a net loss or a gain. It's a wash. It's the same $50 being bought and sold over time. They took the 1099s, added them together, and said that hang on, let me read it to you. You ready for this? I'm reading to you from a legal document from opposing counsel. I am sure you can appreciate how gobsmacked we were and how many times I verified and made the accountant repeat the dollar figure we learned that had been sold off by Mrs. Marcenelle. $1.2 million. Mr. Marcenelle's position is that he knew his wife had sold a few securities because he learned from the accountant that tax would be due, but he thought it was a small amount. Bearing in mind, he was in every meeting and knew exactly to the penny, every penny that I paid in taxes. He had no idea the extent of the sales, how long this had gone on, and how Mrs. Marcenelle had been, are you ready for this? You need to be sitting down. Nobody listen if you're driving. Siphoning money out of the community estate. And here I'm going to read up here. Slowly and quietly, over the past 3 years, your client, referring to me, has sold off $1.2 million in securities and did not tell Mr. Marcenelle. This is fraud, guys. This is fraud. And here's what happens when you make a fraudulent claim against somebody. Words are real.
Yeah.
Actions are real. The emotion The hate, the anger, the resentment was energetically thrust upon me from not only someone who used to love me, but opposing counsel. The psychic attacks from this alone nearly took me out energetically. And we're going to talk about a full segment about this, okay? Because I have many, many clients right now that need so much help healing and creating energetic boundaries in their energy field to keep these psychic attacks from coming in and really, really harming us. Because let me tell you, I was having nightmares. I couldn't sleep. I knew I was being watched. He'd had me stalked and followed. And just the energetic part of this nearly took me out. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I spent significant time, all in 2019, with multiple practitioners to heal and correct and protect myself just from this part alone. Okay. And as you can tell I'm excited because I've got a major problem with this because it was not true and he knew it wasn't true. But as I have learned from many clients, that there is a phenomena underfoot, and this is normal. This is not normal. This is standard freaking behavior by Texas divorce lawyers, and it must stop.
Yeah.
We are really harming each other.
Let's take a short break because when we come back, what I want to be able to do is just allow the entire sequence so that the folks listening to the show will be able to get the takeaway from you, which is, this is what I've learned. This is what I'm sharing with you so that you can stay empowered.
Yes.
And not let accusations that are false affect who you are and who you're meant to become. That you know what to do, even in the most horrific situations. And more importantly, that we remember to burn bright, as the brightness of our shine is enough to light up the darkest of dark. Yes. When we come back, we're going to skip the next break, but we're going to go right through as Jennifer shares exactly what she learned and is sharing with our clients. Because this is not uncommon. This actually is quite common these days in the world we live in of divorce. Let's take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Powerful, powerful show today. And, you know, one of the things I think I've learned in my life, and you're hearing from Jennifer Marcenelle as well, is that we go through life and things happen. And most of the time we don't talk about it. We don't share those stories. But one of the things that you know for sure is that once the stories are told and people are able to get some insight, if there is one person that can be helped today by today's story, then what we're doing is we're really opening up the portal for really true action, healing, and empowerment. Jennifer, before we talk about the unfolding of this story and how we get from a level of betrayal, dishonesty, and fraud, how we get from there, how can people find out more about you and about your work?
Yeah, sure. So I have everything in one place, and it's on my website, burnbrighttoday.com. So there's lots of free information. There's blogs, and you can, if you're interested in seeking assistance for anything remotely close to what I'm talking about, a messy divorce, I have an entire package that really works just on relationships and for divorces. So there's plenty of help on there. Head on over to Burn Bright Today. Set up your free consultation. I want to hear from you. Let's talk to you and let's get you started on the road to burning bright, because it doesn't have to be this way, guys. There's help out there to help you get through this. I had help and I can help you get through this as well. So come on over.
Exactly. Now, I want to talk about what you discovered, right? And I want to talk about how you went from the scenario that would pretty much say, look, you're really going to be down and out here. You are not able to see the light of day at many levels. You
Yes.
got a whole lot of paperwork being thrown at you,
Yes.
and something shifted. Something
Yes.
happened when you stopped, hit the pause button, and you have 4 things that you're going to share with people that you learned from this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's take that first part, because you're right. I was being victimized by the legal system. And being victimized is not the same thing as playing the role of a victim. Okay? But part of what we have to recognize and wake up to is when the law is being misused. In my case, and in many other cases of clients that I'm working with right now, we're in Texas, and all my clients right now happen to be in Texas. Okay, so Texas law is being misused to manipulate, and they're being bullied by opposing counsel, bullied in case by their own counsel if they're not being defended clearly enough, and bullied by mediators or who just want you to agree to something that you should never agree to. It's not right. It's not honest. It's not of integrity. And you'll do almost anything to get it over with. The pressure is so great, not just the psychic pressure, but the economic pressure as well. And a part of what that was my turning point. My turning point was in right at Thanksgiving, when the injunction was still in place. We went into mediation. We're still in a recess. This has been going on months because they've been found out, and now they won't come back to the table, right? So, wow. Yes, there has been control over an injunction for me accessing my own funds, to the point where I've had to close my business checking account because it went overdrawn, because I couldn't get funds into it. And I now, since November, have not been able to pay my own living expenses, including my mortgage, because of the injunction in place. The injunctions were they're not intended to bully you and to cause economic duress like what's happened to me. And let's just go into psychology for just a moment, because what's happened here is that I had given up all of my power to my attorney.
Oh.
Okay? Because I thought that when I hired her, she would advocate for me, she would have my back, and she would get this thing over, she would get to the facts, and she would blow the lid off of this and shine a bright light on the fraud. Well, guess what? That's not what happened. And you know why? I had to be the one to do it. This is about empowerment. Okay? I had to take my power back, even from my own legal team. And by the way, she's very good. She is a very, very good attorney. But I had to take my power back to get things on track. And I'd like to share with you a few things right now that you're going to need to know to take your power back. Number 1, keep your side of the road clean. Regardless of how everybody else is behaving on the opposing side, make sure that you are in integrity, you're speaking from truth, and every information that you give, every data point that you give is fair and honest and with integrity. Then you can stand in your truth no matter what happens, and you're going to be okay. All right? Next thing is, hold your attorney accountable and opposing counsel. Hold the legal system to their own codes of conduct. Because here's a part of what I went through. The opposing counsel was acting way out of the professional codes of conduct. And I'm going to hold something up so that you can see it, okay? Do your own research. Go to the county law library. Make friends with the librarian. It's free. They love to help, and they're going to help you out. Let me tell you. And I'm going to hold this up for you, because here's what I found. And this is the Texas Code of Disciplinary Conduct. Attorneys are held to a code of conduct, guys. Make them adhere to their own code of conduct. It's actually an easy read. You're going to be able to go through this. You're going to read through each and see which codes of conduct the attorneys are not abiding by. By the way, I had in my grievance, I have 44 counts. And not my attorney. I'm talking about opposing counsel, just to be clear. Okay? And here's an example. I'm going to read one of these to you. And this is from, I'm going to hold it up so you can see that this is legitimate. 5.08, prohibited discriminatory activities. This is coming from the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct. I'm going to read this to you. 5.08a, a lawyer shall not willfully, in connection with adjudicatory proceeding, except as provided in paragraph B, manifest by words or conduct bias or prejudice based on race, color, national origin, religion, disability, age, sex, or sexual orientation toward any person involved in the proceeding in any capacity. When opposing counsel called my attorney and told her that my religion was a cult, she broke this code of conduct, guys. This can be empowering. We don't have to tolerate this, but we want to do it from a place of empowerment and coming from self-love, not from anger, not from rebellion, okay? But what I'm saying is work through, find a very safe and private place to work through your emotions. Work with a very skilled practitioner, someone who is licensed and who is held to confidentiality and who is thoroughly trained in how to listen to you and help you process the myriad of emotions you're going to go through. Because this was really hard to have my religion called a cult. I could care less what they say. People have their own nonsense and they have their own karma when they do this. But in a legal proceeding, when you're being bullied and that attorney's calling yours and telling your spouse that your religion's a cult, inappropriate. Okay? So number one, find a very safe place. Number one, go for self-care immediately. Work with a really solid practitioner that you resonate with, who is licensed and certified and knows how to help you through these different things. And we want it to be 100% confidential. So as you're processing your emotions, none of this ever comes back to haunt you in some way it doesn't need to, okay? Number one, get that help. Then number two, there are other things you can do to stand up for yourself and keep the attorneys honest. Research the State Bar Association. The Texas Bar Association has a grievance policy. You can actually file a grievance. I'm filing a grievance against opposing counsel for 44 infractions of code of conduct, and I've got all of the documentation to completely back me up. So number one, make sure that you're coming from love. Only do this when you are ready to do this in a way that is the intention is clearly for the greater good of all concerned. We don't want to do something like this out of anger or resentment because it's going to come back on us, and we don't want that, okay? We want a safe place to process all of that. But on the other hand, we are operating down here on the third dimension, and we still need the appropriate tools to help us get what we need to resolve this. Because once we get to the root of some of these issues, then the sun is going to shine, truth is going to come out, things are going to actually settle down, and we can start healing and moving into joy. So that's a lot. I know I laid a lot on you, and I'll pause here for a moment, Dr. Pat, for you to kind of respond a little bit. That was a lot, I know. But.
Well, I think the way that I want to respond is that I want to say, number one, you and I both know what we're talking about is not easy.
Yes.
I want to be really clear. Yes. Although what you're sharing sounds simple in the context of do this, do that. We know that. And we may have to have several restarts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it doesn't mean you're not going to feel emotion. So I want to be very clear about this. You know, what we're talking about is emotional. And by the way, it could be emotional even after you think it's over.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is, you know, you don't know what you don't know about this, but what you're sharing are the tools that say, no matter what's showing up, this is what you can do. This is what I've learned. This is how I can help you.
Yes.
And I think this is important. You know, Jennifer, the research that's done on things like this, it's broad. We don't really look at divorce and study them this way. But the research that's done is the research on psychological contracts. And
Yes.
that's the body of research that psychologists look at. And what they look at is, even though I don't say to you, you know, I'm really cool, Jennifer, with the relationship we have, and I know you're going to start your business. And, you know, these contracts are both implicit and explicit. That means I might say to you, hey, we're in it to win it. Go ahead and go do it, right? But that doesn't mean that the other version of it is where I don't say anything and I know what you're doing. It's implied. So there are a lot of levels of this, but in the end, it's all the same. Yeah. It's a psychological contract. Yeah. You know, when your boss implies when they hire you that he or she is so flexible, yeah, I don't, you know, you got the kids, and you know, and they imply that during that interview, and you're like, yeah, I want to work with you. And then you get to the moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I got to be home with my kid. And your boss doesn't say, no, you can't go, but says something like, well, gee, you know, I don't know how this is going to affect your future promotions. Boom, betrayal violation. This is the same. This is the same. And when you're in marriage, the number of occurrences of this that could happen is an exponential probability I can't even calculate for the show. And your experience is it's happened all over.
All over. Yes. Yeah, you're exactly right. So we've got psychological contracts that have been broken for betrayal. And we've got energetic boundaries that have been breached. We have the psychological, the psychological mind part of what we're dealing with. We're dealing with painful emotions. All of these need to be helped and healed. And we're dealing with damage to our energetic anatomy.
Oh my God.
Which is a big part of what my clients need help with immediately. Because when you've taken a hit like this, and you know, people are powerful, and then attorneys are powerful, and the mediator's powerful. And when you're getting it from everybody, you can really sustain some energetic damage. So if you are feeling like, here's an example. If somebody out there is in the middle of this, or you've been through it and you can't get rid of it years later, this is why, okay? If you feel like everything's caving in and you feel restricted, you feel shackled, you feel like, you know, you cannot break free, that is a classic telltale sign that you've got energetic damage or energetic injuries that need immediate attention, okay? And there are energy practitioners, you know, who can help with this, okay? Gem and diamond therapy and Reiki can really help get these injuries repaired, and get the nonsense removed, right? Because thoughts are real, and when people put them on, they stick in our energy field. It needs to be removed, okay? We can get these people out of your space, and you'll be taught how to get people out of your space. And this is what we're talking about with boundaries. Boundaries are also energetic. They're not walls. But what it means is it's a healthy, energetic way, physically, super physically, emotionally, memory-wise, mentally, and intuitively, to get people out of your space that don't belong there, okay? And this will help you heal. The amazing difference when you've got boundaries in place and when you have healed and your boundaries are strong, you can actually move through these things and take the challenges without crumpling and not, you know, being in the bottom of the closet, fetal position with your thumb in your mouth. Because trust me, I was there, and my clients have been. So there's a lot to this, but I just want to really say, if you're out there and you're dealing with this, ask for help. There's an entire Burn Bright Today community of practitioners ready and willing to help, and not even within just Burn Bright Today, but we can help you get started. So if any of this resonates with you, you don't have to go through this alone. There's a lot of help, and you can get the energetic help you need to help you get through this, the darkness of divorce, start thriving, and into the brightness of burning bright on the other side. And I will say this, it's worth it. It is going to be okay. You're okay. It's worth it. And you can move into joy. If I did it and my clients are doing it, it can be done, and you can do it too.
There's no question about it. But the one thing I do want to say about it is I want to just say to everyone, as you go through it, what Jennifer is talking about is it's not an it, meaning it's not like the Seahawks lost to, I don't even know, whoever, the Green Bay. That's like an it, right? That's a thing. Now, if you don't think the Seattle Seahawks players are emotional about that loss, I just want to be very clear to everybody. There's an event that happens in your life. It's called divorce.
Yeah.
The ripple effect from how it happens is called, in my field, procedural justice.
Mm.
And what it says is this: how the thing happens will either affect the outcome positively or negative. And what that means is the how is going to determine how devastating it is. And what you described is the thing and then the how. And when you put that perfect storm together, people need help. They need help.
Yes.
And, the football analogy goes as following. Yeah. I mean, how would you like to be Turner, the guy that dropped the ball when they could have had the first down? Or how would you like to be the kicker that could have kicked the field goal? But in the end, we're talking about your emotions. They don't go away with a magic wand. I want to ask you this last question as we move forward.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a one-time event. It's a series of events. It has ripple effects. It can be devastating. It can be triggered. You can be done and walk out and think you're happy, and then you see your favorite movie. I would love for you to share your website again, and also just share with folks what you've established to help them. And thank you for doing the show today.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So burnbrighttoday.com, head on over, take a look at all the information there. And if it resonates with you, reach out. The relationship package is geared to help with this. Whether you're in the muddy middle and the throes of it right now, or to your point, Dr. Pat, whether this happened 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there can be residual energy injuries, because part of this is an energy problem that needs an energy solution, right? So we can have residuals from decades ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if that may applies to you too, the relationship package is there for you. We'll take a look at it. Even if it's 10 years old, there's help. We can help heal all of that and help you move forward. And what's on the other side is so much better once you get there, and you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay.
The crazy doesn't stop. And this is why I'm talking about your work. I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk about today, but I want to just tell you this. Just when you think the crazy is over, your ex moves in 5 houses down the street from you. Oh yeah, that's for real. No. That's the part of my story we didn't tell. But this is the thing I love about this. It's not going to stop us from our dream, from our vision, and from thriving. Look at you and I.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
These are not the people that help us, get stuck. These things happen to build a stronger sense of who we are so that we can help others. Jennifer, thank you so much. Last question. Personal message. What do you want to leave us with today?
I would say, take back your power. And now there's never been a better time in your life to be able to move from the darkness of burning out to the light of burning bright. There's so much support. There are practitioners to help you. And we've got the support of the universe and God. And there is so much love, self-love, waiting to burst out of you. And it feels amazing when you get to that point. So see you on the other side.
I know. And I just want to say, like somebody said to me the other day, we think your microphone is gold. Can you show it? And I'm like, how does anybody see it? But it's gold for a reason. It's gold because for many of us here today, one of the things you should know is this is your divine birthright. It's your divine birthright to shine. Do something golden for yourself right now. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you all for tuning us in, turning us on. Thank you, Benny. Thank you, Zach. And most importantly, your heart can be healed. Let's get some help for you. We'll see you in a minute.